Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. There's a senator from Colorado, what's his guy named Michael Bennett. Is it Bennett? Yeah, Michael Bennett, who he launched into a tear on this Republican tax plan. And look, he's right. Michael Bennett certainly knows this is theater. All of these guys know that this is theater. They have to. There's no way that they believe that there's reality to this. They understand that the Republicans are doing this because the Republicans want to give tax cuts to the people who give Republicans money. They get an investment for God knows how long. They're paying off that investment by millions and billions in tax cuts. That's what's taking place. He knows this. This has nothing to do with helping the American public. This is raping the American public by shifting a tax burden onto the middle class. The rich don't like to pay their fair share, and in not liking to pay their share, they essentially be freeloaders. They're already freeloaders in the sense that most of this wealth comes from just estate tax. They're, it's just rent in that sense. But they're freeloaders in this other sense. All of the police, all of the societal structure that we have in this sense, all of the stuff, the investment that the government makes that they use for their own ends and profits, they don't want to pay their fair share. They don't want to pay their fair share. There are trillions sitting off in tax havens abroad. They don't want to pay their fair share. They consistently try to get away from paying their fair share. And in not paying their fair share, the societal structure somewhat erodes. You have people who are not able to get certain amounts of health care. You have people who are not able to pay for drugs. You have other people being thrown off of healthcare rolls in general. You understand that whatever the burden is, it's being shifted onto you, the middle class. The people who've made 95% of the wealth in the last 8 years is now shifting the tax burden on to you. That's the reality of the situation. You don't have health care. You don't have education. They're not building anything. Your infrastructure is falling apart. And the thing that they said is, you know what we need? Tax cuts. We need tax cuts. We need to give the rich more money. I understand that we're at record levels of income inequality in the society. I understand it. I get it. The thing that fixed that is more tax cuts. Trickle-down economics 2.0 on steroids. That's how I'm going to make America great again. The folly in this is that when people said make America great, they understood or they thought wrong. They thought Trump meant them. Trump means the America that he himself is accustomed to, not the other fucks. Those are useful idiots that Trump used to get elected. He's talking about his own specific America. Everybody has their audience. You're not Trump's audience. You're not his audience. Let's take a look at this and understand what I mean when I say this. Any honest broker, I'm not talking about the 30% that are just in the tank for Trump regardless of what takes place. Trump could pee on the Statue of Liberty and they'll say that's perfectly okay. He's being a badass American. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. So those people, take them off the table. I'm talking about people who float between the two parties, who consider themselves maybe independent, who sometimes vote Republican and Democrat depending on the way the wind blows. That they're not so ideologically bent that they're stuck on a particular person because of the things, the values, that as gross as those values are that the person espouses. Do you honestly believe that if you're trying to come up with a system for healthcare, that Trump care was somehow superior to Obamacare, as shitty as Obamacare was? And if not, why do you believe that he was trying to do that? Do you believe he was trying to do it for the American public, or do you believe that he just wanted to win? Be honest. Be honest. What about net neutrality? That's only going to affect, or is only going to assist 0.0001%, something to that effect. You have a bunch of ISP providers and bank executives that are going to end up charging you more money and limit the resources that you have for free speech. Do you think that's for your benefit, or do you think that's for his? I'm just asking. Do you think this tax plan that's going to take $1.5 trillion and put it on the debt and put it on the backs of the middle class, while again attacking healthcare, 24 million people losing healthcare, and giving away a massive amount of cash to people that don't need it? essentially removing a certain amount of tax burden to get them so they don't have to pay their fair share. Do you think that's fair? And do you think that was done for the public's benefit, or do you think it was done for his own? That's all I'm asking. Be honest. Be honest. Let's take a look at this.
And it's only if you had a case of terrible amnesia that you could support this legislation. George Bush, with this Congress, cut taxes in 2001, didn't pay for those tax cuts, didn't need to because they would pay for themselves. That's what they said. It's exactly what they're saying today. It's exactly what they're saying today. Then in 2003, Mr. President, they passed another tax cut and they didn't pay for it. But they said it would pay for itself. And Mr. President, that supply side economics, which is exactly the same movie that we're seeing today, resulted in the worst recession since the Great Depression. This will be the largest non-recession caused deficit in our history since World War II. What a disgrace! Just like the 01 tax cut, just like the 03 tax cut, they're not paying for it.
Just as a slight caveat, he's in his feelings right now, and to some degree he's right. What he's not telling you, however, is that Obama enshrined those tax cuts in the law. Those grotesque, goblin-esque, horrible tax cuts that he's on the floor defying right now. These, oh, they didn't even pay for these things. How dare they? The fuckers. They didn't pay for these things. Obama enshrined 80% of those into law. Those ghastly, disgusting tax cuts that this Democrat is on the floor talking about right now. Obama enshrined 80% of those into law. Which, so what? Were they ghastly when Bush did it, but they were okay when Obama put them into law? Get out of here. Being in your feelings, I understand it. You're pulling on show. This is theater. What I'm getting at, though, is he's right in the sense of these guys don't care about the deficit. They don't care about this stuff. We want more tax cuts. I don't care how you pay for it. What they're going to end up doing is turning around saying, look at this deficit. We need to do something about this deficit. We need to cut social programs. So Paul Ryan and the other guy, I can't think of his name, they've already kind of made allusions to this thing of Social Security. Not Paul Ryan, I'm sorry, Marco Rubio. Social Security is next. Social Security will be next. Let's keep letting him do his thing.
They are borrowing the money from middle-class families all over the country, from the sons and daughters of teachers and firefighters and police officers. That's who's going to have to pay back that bill. And for what? To end poverty in America? No. To invest in infrastructure or health care or to strengthen our safety net? No. To fritter it away on $34 billion worth of tax cuts for the wealthiest people in America. And I'm going to close just by saying this. I would never, ever, before I got here 9 years ago, have believed that something this cynical could happen on the floor of the Senate.
I don't see why he didn't. I don't see why he didn't. I mean, look, if you realize that the public itself is not going to do anything, then why wouldn't you do it? Like if there's no guard at the door, why wouldn't you do it? When Richard Nixon was burying himself in the White House with, you know, these buses all around the White House, and he had all these protesters and everybody else, and he's terrified, thinking that the people were coming to get him. Why do you think Nixon passed some of the policies that Nixon passed? These kind of like the EPA and this type of stuff. He didn't do it because he was a hippie. He didn't do it because he loved it. He did it because he thought that there was a societal pressure that made him do it, that required him to do it. There is no societal pressure for any of this. The public is complacent. The public goes to sleep. Why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't they do it? Of course they're going to do it. You're giving them an opportunity to do it. The Democrats have allowed them to move the ball this far to the right to make this stuff seems like just normal, natural politics. Given massive amounts of wealth, being completely corrupt and bought off. That is not normal politics. At the very least, it shouldn't be. I keep making this point that the left, right, and center, regardless of what your political spectrum is, and I understand you have some Trump supporters who don't care about corruption. You have some Hillbots that don't care about corruption and lying. Fair enough. Take those people off the table. The people who actually believe in real things. We can have this debate on what politics should be. It should not involve being paid off. It should not involve being paid off. So this tax scam is a travesty. It is sad and pathetic that this is what takes place in regards to the U.S. politics, where these guys are brazenly giving away trillions of dollars. They're putting it on your backs. They're putting it on your backs. So tell me about how awesome Trump is all you want. At the very least, you have things that you need to answer for if you're going to take that perspective. This is one of them. This is one of them. I will leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks guys.